Boom. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Was it Thursday now? Yeah. Happy Thursday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. So I've been off working, making beer for the past few days, so I haven't been around to actually do a review. So today, since I'm off, I decided to do one for you, and we got another one from probably one of my favorite breweries in Texas. I would say they're probably up there with being one of my favorites when it comes to this kind of style of beer. I've only had, when it comes to like fruited Berliner Weisses and like the heavy, thick fruited sours, from like a handful of breweries that like to experiment with that kind of style and all that stuff, because it involves heavily using fruit puree and all that kind of stuff in there. But we got one here from 903 Brewers this afternoon called the MaiTai Slushy. And if it's anything like a MaiTai, it's probably going to be very fruity. I'm really kind of curious how that amaretto flavoring is going to be in this one, just because with anything that I've ever had with when it comes to a sour or anything, adding amaretto to it adds kind of a floraliness to it, along with kind of just, I've noticed that they're very, very sour too, because I think the last one I had was like a kettle sour. It was like an amaretto kettle sour, and that shit was insane when it comes to tartness. So I'm expecting this to hopefully balance everything out. You're going to get a good sweetness from the pineapple. You're going to probably get a nice kind of citrusiness from the lime and the orange in there. But yeah, I'm expecting this to just be very tropical, very delicious, and just overall really heavy kind of mouthfeel as well, just because 903 does a lot of their fruit sours where they use a lot of fruit puree in them. So I'm excited. It's a 6.2%. So when it comes to sessionability, yeah, I would say this is an easily sessionable one. I kind of max out sessionability when it comes to like going up to that 7.5 kind of realm. So yeah, I'm excited to try this one out. So let's crack this guy open and see what we get on the nose with this one. I'm curious if I actually get that kind of amaretto on the nose. I don't know if I will or not, but of course, big recommendations when it comes to drinking this kind of beer, when it's something heavily fruited or heavily using fruit puree, when it comes to like a fruited Berliner Weiss or a fruited sour. Always going to want to store it in the fridge the moment you get it. That's first of all, just because you don't want the stuff to kind of get room temperature and have that kind of fruit continue to ferment in the can, just because a lot of the times when they add the fruit, it still has the opportunity to ferment. Some breweries add an additive to it to where it stops fermentation, but a lot of breweries still give it the opportunity for the fruit to kind of work a little bit more magic in there. But so you always want to store that in the fridge, just because, yeah, you always want to store your beer in the fridge first of all. But then when you're wanting to drink it, there's a couple steps that I recommend taking, just because it will make your drinking experience with that kind of style of beer that much better. So when you take it out of the fridge, give it a couple rolls on the counter, because all that stuff that's, when it comes to the fruit puree, is going to be sitting all at the bottom of the beer, just because it's heavier. The gravity of that stuff is definitely going to be more heavier, so it's going to sit to the bottom. So what you're going to want to do, roll it around, just give it a couple rolls on the counter, get that stuff kind of suspended in there, just because you want that pour to be heavy, thick, and all that kind of stuff. So give it a couple rolls. Then what I do when I recommend it, when you're taking it to wherever you're going to be drinking it, just hold the can upside down, because all the stuff that's sitting at the bottom is going to start moving through the top, and everything's just going to get flowing through that can really, really nice. So yeah, I already cracked this guy open. Let's see. I didn't smell it yet, so let's see what we get. Definitely getting that lime coming through pretty nice. I'm definitely getting like a slight floraliness. I'm not getting much of the pineapple on the nose, so I'm hoping this is just very, very tropical tasting. Definitely going to have a nice citrusiness. I'm thinking the sour notes are going to probably come from the amaretto, along with kind of giving that lime kind of citrusy tartness to it. But yeah, the pineapple is definitely going to add sweetness, along with that orange is going to add that extra bright notes, because it'll just enhance that pineapple flavor that much better. So yeah, drinking it out of my deciduous little sour glass, I like to call it. But let's see how this guy pours. Oh yeah, definitely pouring nice and orange. So I'm going to get probably about halfway through the pour, and then what I like to do is just kind of swirl it around in the can. What's up, Face Meat? How you doing, brother? What's up, Rex? What's up, Nick? Yeah, but let's see how the rest of this pours, because it's going to start pouring a lot thicker now. Oh yeah, look at that. It just looks like a nice citrusy tropical fruit deliciousness right here. Just look, you could definitely see how much puree they put in that stuff, because it looks like a glass of orange juice. Sometimes it kind of looks like that kind of hazy IPA kind of feeling, but yeah, this thing is very, very heavy when it comes to mouthfeel, I'm assuming. Definitely getting more of that lime coming through now that I poured it. So it's getting that nice kind of citrusy tart punch out of the nose. Yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's give this guy a try. So cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday. Oh yeah. Okay, so as I thought I was gonna get like a floraliness from the amaretto on there. Not really get much of it all. I think when it comes to adding amaretto to a beer, they're not just going to add the alcohol to it just because it's going to screw up alcohol content when it comes to what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. We really can't control what alcohol content you want it to be when it comes to adding just a liqueur or something like that to it. So they probably use like an extract, an amaretto extract, just because it's concentrated of what that is supposed to taste like. Getting very, very heavy pineapple up front. That's the main predominant flavor I'm getting. It's just nice, sweet pineapple. Getting a little bit of that like citrusiness from the lime and the orange. The mouthfeel, it kind of reminds me of drinking orange juice with pulp in it, just because it's the best way to describe the mouthfeel is pulpy. It's like thick orange juice kind of pulpiness. Definitely having that kind of like little bits in your mouth as you're drinking it. So like a thick orange juice would when there's pulp in there. But yeah, the pineapple flavors are explosive. Definitely kind of gives me that almost, I don't want to say canned pineapple feeling, but like, when you open up a can of that pineapple rings and stuff, it's that kind of nice, sweet pineapple flavor you're getting there. But overall, very, very smooth, very, very heavy mouthfeel, and overall, it's just absolutely delicious. Yeah, it tastes like just once in a while after you take a drink, it tastes like you're just drinking pineapple juice with a little bit of tartness. There's not really much of tartness to me at all. You're just getting that slight kind of feeling on your jawline, all that kind of stuff. The slight, just like citrusy tartness to it. So I'm happy that it's not overly tart. I'm happy that it's not floral. And overall, it's delicious. So what we like to do here on this channel when we're looking at beers and all that kind of stuff, I like to kind of give similar beer suggestions when it comes to this kind of same style, just because you may not be able to get your hands on anything from 903, and Untapped usually does a really cool thing to where you're checking on a beer and you look on that page for that beer. They have similar beers to what may be in that similar style. But unfortunately with this one, when it comes to some beers from 903, when it comes to their similar beers they show on their page, it's the same 5 beers I've seen in like 5 different ones. So I'm not really going to suggest anything from these ones since I've talked about them so much already. So my suggestions for looking for something this heavily pineapple-y, this heavily like almost citrusy, orangey kind of feeling, definitely going to recommend stuff from Drekker. Drekker's availability when it comes to distributing all over the country has gotten a lot better. So you may be able to find something from the Brain series, having pineapple in there. Of course, maybe adding a little bit more tropical fruits in there. Maybe you might get something with like an orange. I know they have one where it's like definitely have like a strawberry lime one that has kind of give you those citrusy kind of feelings in there as well. So breweries that I would recommend if you want to get this kind of style when it comes to this kind of beer, Drekker is always going to be number one. You could probably find stuff from 450 North and some like specialty liquor stores or bottle shops because they play around with that heavy smoothie mouthfeel as well. Of course, RAR does a lot of stuff like that. I know there's a couple other ones on the East Coast that are really experimenting with this heavily fruited kind of style. But overall, this one's absolutely delicious. So let's look here. I don't think I had anybody on my friends list check this one in. So before we look at the global ratings and see what other people are saying about this one, Untapped doesn't really have a description for this one because it's just one of the other beers that 903 came out with, since 903's done a lot of stuff when it comes to their different styles of fruited sours. So it shows right here 6.2%. So you already heard me talk about that. And then with over 502 ratings, this one has an average rating of 4.18 out of 5, which is, I can definitely see why. This is definitely with that heavy pineapple-y fruited flavor, this is definitely something that I would recommend to somebody who usually doesn't like to taste a beer, but wants something different. They want to try beer out. They want to give beer a shot. This is one that would be 100% on my list to recommend for somebody to try, just because if you don't like how beer tastes normally, this is not going to give you those normal kind of typical kind of domestic beers that you usually see in like your grocery store or something like that. Ones that are the most popular ones, stuff from like Budweiser and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to get those flavors coming from this kind of beer. You're going to get mostly the fruit flavors, not really getting a booziness at all from this. I guess with it being a Weisse style of beer, you might get like little after notes of like barley and wheat kind of situations at the end, just because that's probably one of the grains that they use in there, because those grains are usually used in every kind of beer you make. But yeah, overall, this is definitely one that's for anybody that's starting out to kind of try these kind of beers when it comes to these fruited sours and these fruited Berliner Weiss. This would probably be one of the ones that would be on the top of my list for people to try, just because there's so many. I don't want to say there's room for error when it comes to having somebody try it, but it's just outstanding. And with the pineapple flavors and the orange flavors, you're gonna not really taste like you're drinking a beer at all. So let's look and see what people put on the global ratings here. So this person gave it a 4 out of 5. Didn't say anything. This guy purchased it off Tavor, like how I got mine. Gave it a 3.5, saying back of the fridge fine. Down to a lot of stouts now. So yep, it's stout season. So of course people are drinking a lot of stouts. So this guy must have found his in the back of his fridge. That's perfectly fine. This guy gave it a 3. Let's see, we got another 4 out of 5. Purchased from Tavor. Another 4. Somebody gave it a full 5 out of 5. Another 4. 4. Let's see, 4. 4.25. 4 says tart and ultra fruity. Really good. I feel like I got my daily dose of vitamin C. Yeah, that's pretty damn accurate with the amount of like orange and pineapple flavors that have that kind of fruity flavor. It tastes like you're drinking orange juice, like mixing pineapple juice and orange juice. That's exactly what this beer tastes like. And overall, that's definitely something that tastes absolutely delicious to me. And then last one before we kind of go into our ratings here, we got one that gave it a 3.5 and put very tropical. Texture-wise, it's like an alcoholic orange juice. It's good, yeah. But pretty much the best way for me to describe this is drinking orange juice when it comes to mouthfeel and just having the pulpiness with a little bit of a booziness to it. And I wouldn't say it's like boozy in a sense of like when you drink a barley wine and all that kind of stuff, but when it comes to this kind of style of beer, booziness just, you can definitely, it's just gonna have you feel it. You're gonna notice you're drinking alcohol after a few minutes. So oh yeah, 100% face me. Having a blender Weisse, since they're like having those more of those better flavors, they're definitely good starter beers for sure. So let's start trying to figure out what we're gonna be doing for ratings on this guy. So let me pour a little bit more in the glass. And of course our first rating is always can art. And 903 has a lot of really good can art. They use a lot of colors. They kind of give the vibes of what they're gonna kind of be put in the can and all that kind of stuff. So when you're looking at a MaiTai, of course, they have the picture of a MaiTai lip, giving that tropical drink feel kind of thing where you have the drink, the pineapple, the cherry, the little umbrella, and then the flower, like you'd be sitting on a beach drinking this kind of thing. And then they have like all the, if it looks like a Hawaiian shirt in the background, which I can appreciate, having like the palm trees and all that kind of stuff. And the font's always nice. Definitely has a really nice colorful font to it when it comes to that light blue and the pink. I think it's a really nice touch. So overall, yeah, this can art's pretty nice. Definitely something that would catch my attention at a liquor store or bottle shop, just because, first of all, 903, it's definitely something that's going to make me go over there and be like, what the hell is this? Just because if I see 903 stocked on shelves near me, that's really cool, because seeing them distribute up at the Midwest and all that kind of stuff, I think is just showing that they're getting their stuff out there and all that kind of stuff. So, can art, yeah, it's nice. Definitely something I recognize and kind of something that would catch my attention for sure. So I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Easy 4 out of 5 for can art for me. Love the colors. So let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight at 903 Brewers, would I have another one? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I love the mouthfeel of this one. Having that kind of pulpy, orange juicy kind of feeling to it. Having that pineapple come through predominantly. Not really tasting much of the amaretto, which is nice. I think it might be just intermingling with the tartness that you get with the citrusy lime and the orange a little bit from that. But I'm glad that it didn't really give me a floralness to it, just because sometimes when you have one with that kind of style of it, when it comes to adding amaretto flavoring to it, I get a decent like kind of tart floral. I'm glad it didn't make a predominant flavor in this, which is, I'm happy about it. So what is my final rating on this one going to be? Like I said before, this is a fantastic introductory beer for somebody who either doesn't like beers or wants to experiment with drinking the fruited sours, that fruited Berliner Weisse, because you're going to get that little bit of a tartness just from the lime, but it's a tartness that people recognize when it comes to, you're not getting like a fermented tartness like how you would in a barrel-aged sour or something like a kettle sour and all that stuff. You're getting the natural tartness from like the limes they used, or maybe having that little bit of a tartness they used from the oranges and all that kind of stuff. So overall, this one was a fantastically done. Really, really love the pulpiness to it, just because it reminds me of orange juice so much. And it's delicious. So, I think my final rating on this guy, I'm going to give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. Really, really good. I would have liked to see if that amaretto flavoring, what would it have done if there was a little bit of a floraliness to it, just because I wonder how that would intermingle with the tartness, having that kind of mix with the pineapple and the orange and the lime and all that stuff. I would have loved to see what that would have done. But knowing that it's not really predominant, I'm okay with it just because it's absolutely delicious on its own. So, yeah, really, really well done. Another one from 903 just absolutely knocks it out of the park. So my final rating, 8.5 out of 10. Really, really would recommend this if you can get your hands on it. I don't think this is available at 903 right now, just because all the stuff in their Slushy line is still kind of winter themed a little bit. So you're going to see stuff like with berries and all that stuff. They got one called the Bougie Berry Slushy available. They got the Forbidden Fruit. They have one called the Yippee-Ki-Yay. Got one called Cottonhead Nitty Muggins. Merry Christmas Slushies Full. And then the Slushy Actually one. So they still have a lot of their Christmas themed ones from their Slushy line available right now. So I would say just keep an eye out for anything that has pineapple and all kind of stuff. If you want to try a beer similar to this one, of course, you want to kind of see when you're searching for a beer like this, see if it's on the can where it says recommending to roll, because if you know that that's on there, you might be able to see that there's going to be a lot of puree in it, because a lot of the times when breweries add a lot of puree to them, they're going to put on the label that they recommend you to roll it just because they want you to have the best drinking experience possible. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button along with that notification bell as well. It'll let you know whenever I go live to another review. I'm doing beer reviews whenever I can, so just keep an eye out for those. When I'm not working, I'm usually here every day doing a review for you guys. But other than that, of course, if you want to get your hands on other stuff from 903, Tavour is always a great option for me to suggest. They ship all around the country when it comes to getting craft beer delivered to you. 903 shows up down there pretty often, so you can get availability when it comes to getting stuff from 903 pretty frequently. It's just a little bit iffy when it comes to where they ship, just because some areas, when it comes to different states and all that stuff, have different liquor laws when it comes to shipping alcohol, along with kind of not having the availability for a courier service to deliver it, just because they won't deliver it through like the mains, like UPS, all that kind of stuff. They use small courier services to make sure their product gets to the customer. So my recommendation, download the app. It's the link to the website's down in the description below for you guys. It'll take you directly to where you can download the app. When you create an account, they'll make you put in your zip code, and they'll let you know right away if you can get stuff shipped to you. And last but not least, if you're a beer drinker and you enjoy craft beer and you enjoy social media like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, my big recommendation for you guys is to get yourself onto Untappd. It's a really, really fun platform. You can check in beers, get badges, see what's popular in your area, see what's trending and popular globally. It's just overall a really, really fun experience. You can see people like me, Kentucky's on there. Duchess is on there, Logan's on there, who else? Lee, Not the Real Gerard Butler, the Typhon, Sean and Lizzie. There's so many people on Untappd just drinking beers, having a good time. It's just a really, really cool platform that I'm using every single day when I can. So, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it. So I'm going to end this like I always end it before we get the hell out of here. If we're going to drink responsibly, don't drink and drive, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.